Om Shanti. This is the Avyakt Murli of 17th of May, 1983. And the title is The Confluence Age is the Age of Scenes of Pleasure. Today, Bap Dada is seeing his big and small carefree emperors. It is only at the Confluence Age that the gathering of the biggest emperors of all takes place. In no other age is there a gathering of so many emperors. It is only at this time that all of you see the gathering of carefree emperors, the gathering of self-sovereigns. Young and old, all of you know yourselves to be emperors and also move along, considering yourselves to be that. Therefore, the gathering of emperors, that is, the gathering of self-sovereigns, is so great. The one who makes others into the emperors of all emperors and the kings of all kings is so pleased to see the carefree emperors, the kings of the present time, who are to become the kings of the future. Throughout the whole cycle, would there be such a father whose hundreds of thousands of children would all be emperors? What would any one of you who is asked say? Even a young child would say, I will become Lakshmi or Narayan. All of you children think this, do you not? Such a father has so much pride in such children. All of you also have the spiritual intoxication that you belong to the royal family of kings. Are you part of the royal family? So today, Bap Dada was seeing every child. The father's children are so fortunate. Each and every child is fortunate. Together with this, you also have the cooperation of time, because to the extent that this confluence age is a short age, so it is accordingly filled with as many specialties. The attainments you have at the confluence age cannot be attained in any other age. The confluence age is the age of scenes of pleasure. There is pleasure in nothing but pleasure. When you eat, eat in pleasure with the Father. When you walk, walk with your hand in the hand of the bestower of fortune. When you drink the nectar of knowledge, drink it with the Father, the bestower of knowledge. When you perform actions, do so with the Karavanhar Father, while considering yourself to be an instrument. When you go to sleep, sleep in the lap of remembrance. When you wake up, have a conversation with God. The whole of the daily timetable is of the Father and you. And if the Father is with you, there is no sin. So, what would there be? There would be pleasure and nothing but pleasure. Would there not? Bap Dada was seeing that all the children were living in great pleasure. You took this short birth to celebrate in pleasure. Eat, drink, and stay in the pleasure of remembrance. The duty of this subtle birth, that is, the virtue of this birth, is to stay in pleasure. Your divine action is to stay in the pleasure of service. The aim of this birth is to stay in pleasure and to make this whole world a world of all pleasures. Therefore, from morning to night, you stay in scenes of pleasure. Do you not? You spend your day and night as carefree emperors. Do you not? So, did you hear what Baba saw in the subtle region today? A gathering of carefree emperors. Every emperor was in the pleasure of remembrance and had the tilak of the awareness of being seated on the Father's heart throne. Acha, today it is the day for meeting, and therefore Baba has come to meet his emperors. Acha, Bab Dada meeting a group of small children. Do all of you children study, play, and move along while considering yourselves to be great souls? Always have the happiness that you are great souls and the intoxication that you are the children of God, the highest on high. Have you seen God? Where is He? If someone asks you to introduce him to God, are you able to do this? All of you are the children of God. Therefore, as children of God, you don't ever fight, do you? Do you make mischief? God's children are yogi, and so, why do you make mischief? Always consider yourselves to be great souls, yogi souls. What will you become? Will you become both Lakshmi and Narayan at the same time? Or will you sometimes become Lakshmi and sometimes Narayan? Would you like to become Lakshmi? Acha. If you constantly want to be Narayan, then constantly lead a peaceful and a yogi life. And every morning when you wake up, definitely say, "Good morning" to Baba. Don't just wake up late. Quickly get ready and go wherever you have to go. Definitely sit in remembrance for even 3 minutes and say, "Good morning." Have a conversation and then get ready. Never forget this vow. If you don't say good morning, don't eat food. If you remember to eat food, then you should also first remember to say good morning. First say good morning and then eat your food. Revise your study of knowledge. Imbibe virtues well, and you will become spiritual roses and spread fragrance throughout the world. Roses that are always in bloom constantly spread their fragrance. So, you are such fragrant flowers, are you not? Do you constantly remain happy? Or do you sometimes also become unhappy? You must be feeling unhappy when you don't get what you want, or when your mommy or daddy says something to you. Don't do anything that would mean your mommy or daddy having to say something to you. Move along like angels do. Angels don't make any sound, whereas human beings make noise. You Brahmins who are to become angels, don't make any noise. Walk in such a way that no one is even aware of it. Eat, drink, and walk as angels. Bab Dada is congratulating all of you children a great deal. You are very good children and always remain good. Acha? Bab Dada speaking to young girls. What is the praise of a Kumari life? Why are Kumaris worshipped? You are pure souls. So, all of you are pure souls who, with your pure remembrance, remain engaged in the service of making others pure. Whether you are young or old, you are able to give everyone the Father's introduction. Are you not? Even the young ones give very good lectures. If Bap Dada asked the youngest of you Kumaris to give a lecture on a big stage, would you be ready? You wouldn't hesitate, would you? You wouldn't be afraid, would you? Always consider yourself to be a world benefactor soul who benefits all the souls of the world. You are not ordinary Kumaris, but elevated Kumaris. You elevated Kumaris do elevated work. do you not? The most elevated task of all is to give others the Father's introduction and make them belong to the Father. People of the world are stumbling around and searching, whereas you have recognized Him and attained Him. You are such fortunate and lucky souls. You now belong to God, so could there be any fortune greater than this? Therefore, constantly have the happiness that you are always a fortunate soul. If you ever lost this happiness, you would sometimes cry and at other times make mischief. Always live amongst yourselves with love and obey your parents. Whatever they tell you, constantly stay in remembrance of the Father from beyond this world, for only then will you be able to become elevated Kumaris. So always consider yourselves to be elevated Kumaris, worthy to be worshipped Kumaris. You are the same Shaktis who are worshipped in the temples, are you not? Each of you Kumaris can carry out a great task. You can become instruments for world transformation. Bapdada has given you children the task of world transformation. Therefore, constantly stay in the remembrance of the Father and do service. Before doing service for world transformation, first transform yourselves. You have now completely changed from your previous life. So now, simply stay in remembrance of being an elevated soul, a pure soul, a great soul, and a fortunate soul. You don't forget this remembrance when you go to school or college, do you? You are not colored by company, are you? You are never attracted by food and drink, etc., are you? You never want to eat a few biscuits or have some ice cream, do you? You are firm ones who always eat Brahma Bhojan that is cooked in remembrance, are you not? Just be careful that when you go back, you don't become colored by company. Kumaris can make as much fortune as they want to. From childhood, be interested in doing service, study, and also learn how to teach. If you become clever in childhood, you will become instruments to serve everywhere when you grow up. At the time of the establishment, there were little ones. They have now grown up and are doing so much service. You will become even cleverer than them. You are the fortune of tomorrow. Tomorrow, Bharat will become heaven, and so you are the fortune of tomorrow. Anyone who sees you should experience that you are not ordinary Kumaris, but special Kumaris. While studying that study, the deep love in your heart should be for the study of knowledge. What is your aim after finishing your studies? To become an elevated soul and perform elevated tasks. You are not going to carry the burden of a job, are you? If there is some reason for that, that is a different matter. If your parents don't have any other means of income, that is a desperate circumstance. However, always remember what will be useful for your present and your future. What will be of use to you? This study of knowledge will be useful for 21 births. Therefore, if you have to do worldly work in name, then in that too there should also be deep love for the Father and service in your heart. Therefore, all of you must become right hands. Don't become left hands. When all of you become right hands, destruction will be ready to take place. When all of you Shaktis come with a flag of victory, the time of Ravan's kingdom will come to an end. If you are going to become a Brahma Kumari, then what would you do with a degree? That study is studied so that you become broad-minded in terms of general knowledge. It isn't for any desire of your own heart. You shouldn't feel that you will take this degree this year and another degree next year and then another degree. If death were to come while doing that, then, therefore, continue to take advice about whether you should study further or not from those who are instruments. There are some who don't think about the present or the future because of their interest in study. They become deceived. You yourself have to make a decision for your life, not what your parents say. Be your own judge. You are Shiv Shaktis, so no one can tie you in bondage. Sheep, not Shaktis, can be tied in bondage. Shaktis are portrayed riding lions. Lions live freely, not enclosed in bondage. Therefore, always remember that you are the Father's right hands. Acha, Bap Dada meeting teachers. Do you always have the awareness that you are instrument servers? Karavanhar, one who makes you act, is making you an instrument and enabling you to do everything. So, Karavanhar is responsible, is he not? And those who become instruments always remain light. You received a direction, you carried out the task, and constantly remained light. Do you remain like this, or do you sometimes experience a burden of service? Because if you feel it to be a burden, there won't be success. By considering it to be a bondage, none of your actions will be accurate. In worldly work too, when you feel a task to be a burden, you would break something, you would tear something, there would be some confusion in the mind, or you would become disturbed. The task wouldn't be successful either. In the same way, if you carry out this non-worldly task as a burden, it won't be accurate. You won't be able to be successful. Then the burden will continue to increase, and you won't be able to experience the elevated fortune of the confluence age, that of being light and flying. Then what would you do? Having become a confluence-aged Brahmin, therefore constantly remain light and perform every task while considering yourself to be an instrument. This is known as being an embodiment of success. In today's world, they wear roller skates and move so fast. They are so light. Their speed becomes so fast. So, when the Father is making you move, you have the skates of Srimad. By having the skates of Srimad, your speed of effort automatically becomes fast. Always move along while being such a server. Don't experience the slightest burden. Since Karavanhar is the Father, why is there a burden? With this awareness, constantly continue to move in the flying stage. Just constantly continue to fly. This is called being a number one serviceable soul. Just Baba, Baba, and Baba. Let this soundless music continue to play at every second. Simply Baba and I constantly remain merged in this way, and then no third person will be able to come in between. When constantly merged in one another, Both are happy, and no one can come in between. This is known as being an elevated server. Are you like this? Don't look at anyone else. Don't listen to anything else. Even by just listening, an influence is created. Just Baba and I constantly celebrate in this pleasure. You worked very hard. It is now the time to enjoy and have pleasure. There is also a song. There is nothing but pleasure. When you get up, as you walk, do service, and go to sleep. Do everything in pleasure. Dance a lot, sing, remain happy. Do service and happiness while dancing. Don't do it while limping along. At the confluence age, you have the pleasure of all relationships. Therefore, celebrate a lot in pleasure. Constantly experience the scenes of pleasure. Acha, blessing, may you be free from all attractions and experience constant safety by remaining under the canopy of the Father's protection. In the physical world, in order to protect yourselves from the sun and rain, you take the support of a canopy. This is a physical canopy, whereas this is the Father's canopy of protection, which keeps the soul safe at every moment. No others can attract such a soul towards themselves. As soon as you say Baba from your heart, you become safe. No matter what adverse situations arise, those who stay under the canopy constantly experience safety. They don't feel even the slightest heat of the influence of Maya. Slogan: become such self-sovereigns that all dependency comes to an end. Om Shanti.